In this video, we will be demoing the split stance Romanian deadlift and we'll be using kettlebells. A regular or normal deadlift starts from the floor and ends at the hips when the athlete is standing all the way up. A Romanian deadlift or RDL, on the other hand, is the opposite from the regular deadlift in that the rep starts from the top of the rep at the hips before the athlete controls the descent to mid-shin when the weights are just off of the floor before standing up to the hips again. The points of performance we're looking for during the split stance Romanian deadlift are a solid split stance, a tall chest, a braced midline, and proper hinging mechanics, so hinging of the hips as opposed to squatting and using the knees too much. This movement is great at teaching those proper hinging mechanics that can transfer over to other movements such as your Olympic lifts, box jumps, kettlebell swings, good mornings, and the conventional deadlift, just to name a few. The first common fault we see is when an athlete has a split position that is either too short or too wide. Ideally, you want about 1 foot's length distance between your feet, nothing more or less. You can see in these first 3 reps that my feet were way too short, whereas in these second 3 reps, my foot position was way too wide. Both resulted in some improper hinging mechanics, which affected the efficiency of my movement. The second common fault we see is when an athlete's hips stay in the same place and they drop their chest towards the floor instead. This results in a poor midline position, which can lead to back pain. So you can see in this video, my hips aren't really moving, but my chest is dropping to the ground. You can see that there's a rounding in my back that results from that. Third common fault we can see is when an athlete makes their descent much more squatty than it needs to be. Remember, we're doing a deadlift, not a squat. So you can see in this video, my knees are bending much more than they have to, and here I'm targeting my glutes and my quads way more than my hamstrings, which is the purpose of the movement. Remember, send the hips back. When we return back to our original clip, you can find a good split position, proper hinging mechanics, an upright chest, and a braced midline throughout the entirety of the movement. Remember, your focus should be to send your hips and your butt back in order to feel this in your hamstrings as opposed to your quads. When done right, the split stance version of the Romanian deadlift allows us to target the hamstrings in a unilateral or single leg fashion that allows for a more specific or localized approach to hamstring development while working on those proper hinging mechanics that will transfer over to our big lifts or our compound movements.